Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Homeownership and Hip Hop right here on Flowhio Radio, Spreaker Radio, and all other outlets. My name is Kyle Jackson. I'm a realtor with Savannah Premier Real Estate right here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. It's a great day here in Tampa Bay. Another beautiful day to sell and buy real estate here in our beautiful city and our state of Florida. People are flying here in droves. They want to be here. They come here from all over the country because Florida is a beautiful place to live, particularly this time of year. While many of you who may be within my listening voice, while you're wearing coats, we're wearing shorts, ladies and gentlemen. We're enjoying our best life. It feels like spring. It's about 80-something degrees outside, and I love Tampa Bay. For those of you who may not have been privy to our first two episodes, this is episode number 3 of Homeownership and Hip Hop right here on Spreaker Radio. And here on this episode, you are in for an extra special treat. As you may or may not already know, we're here for one reason. We're here for a lot of reasons. We're here to help to educate, uplift, entertain, inspire, and we want to create some generational wealth here. We want to help people who tune into this show, call into this show, or listen sometime thereafter to either contact our guests about ways that they can buy and sell real estate, contact me to serve as a realtor, contact my hip-hop guests to do business with them because they are still actively engaged in the market in some way, right? So this is about business. We're here to do business. That's why we do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We figure by this time of the day, the hip-hop audience could be up. And that is our niche. I think it's niche, right? Is it niche? Is it niche? Niche?
Depends on who's saying it.
That's right.
The niche market. Thank you for saving me there. My niche market, my niche market is the hip-hop community, right? People tell you, oh, find your niche market. Well, I've been in and around hip-hop all my life. And if I'm going to do something for people in real estate, well, I'd love to be doing it with people who I am already familiar with through the hip-hop community. We have a whole culture. We have clothes. We have cars. We have everything. TV shows. Movies. We can go down a long list.
Yes.
And now let's add real estate. Let's add land, right? And so we're going to talk to two amazing guests today. Today, my loan officer, as you know, each week we have loan officer or some person who is tied in with real estate in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Lately, we've been dealing with loan officers, but we may also have a few insurance people and credit restoration people, and there are other people in and around the business that we talk to as well. But we're going to have Michelle Moore.
Hi.
Of Guaranteed Rate in the building. Serge, can I get a big round of applause for Michelle? She is going to be talking to us. If you're not familiar with Guaranteed Rate, I will tell you they are huge. They're huge. And you might see some of their commercials on television. A great resource for where you can be approved to get a loan to purchase a home or to do some investments and buy some investment properties. She's going to talk to you about that in greater detail. And my second guest, representing the hip-hop side of things,
Yes, sir.
is my man, Big Lon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can we give Serge, give him a major round of applause. Big Lon is in the building. I didn't hear my claps.
We don't need no claps.
It takes a while. The crowd takes a while to warm up.
Well, I'm giving you a round of applause.
Appreciate you.
And so, listen, we're going to talk to these two amazing guests today about not only where they are in their lives, what's going on with, them in terms of their careers, but we're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about how what they do impacts the community. We're going to talk about where we are going in terms of hip-hop being a force within the sphere of real estate, right? How does this play a part? Because I know there are lots of other groups and cultures that kind of get a voice in the real estate realm, right? If you look at certain commercials, you'll see commercials playing background music. And it's funny because over the last couple of years, I noticed that supermarkets and car companies have really kind of embraced hip hop. I saw the legendary DJ D Nice in a Cadillac commercial recently.
Yes, sir.
Salute D Nice.
I saw that.
Okay, and so clearly we know D Nice from early hip hop. He was Boogie Down Productions.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, salute Boogie Down Productions
Yes,
on KRS-One for being the reigning champ of Versus. He and Big Daddy Kane went head to head. Salute Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, he did his thing.
He did his thing. I will take nothing away. We're gonna talk about that show in greater detail because that's an important. I think Versus has now become an important part of the culture.
Yes, it has.
So it's funny, Serge. I don't know if you're queued up to do it, but I put a infomercial on my TikTok earlier. I don't know if I can play it.
Which one?
The
one with the KRS?
With the KRS. Are you
Yeah,
able
I got
to
that.
play
I got that queued up.
All right, real quick trivia question. You got a little advantage. I don't know if you remember. I did tell you.
Yes, you did.
Okay. But so I'm not going to let you go first then. I'm going to see if this gentleman knows this song. We're going to test your hip-hop aficionado status here real quick. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Hit us with it.
Let's go.
Oh, you want me to say the name of the song?
The name of the song.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Let me see. This was on the first album?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes, that is correct.
I
think he has the answer
yeah.
already.
This is on the
He's keeping
first
us in
album.
suspense for sure. Right.
That's how you figure it out.
Right. I'm gonna can he call a friend?
Give me a minute. I know the song.
I'll run it
I
back.
hear it in my head.
I'll run it back one more time.
Look at it.
Oh, not a little bit. Not even in a little bit. I know the words to the song. I just can't think of the name.
So this song is by the Blast Master KRS-One, and it's called Poetry.
Poetry.
And so today, this is the song that I chose to use to advertise today's show for the reason, because he won Versus.
Okay.
So clearly it is a major impact because I wanted to pay homage to him, that song, and that was a good, I knew you knew it. You just didn't call the name of it, but I knew you knew it because you sang the verses in your...
Yeah, I know the song. I just
you
can't
say
think
it
of
to
the
yourself
name.
well. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first, Serge, I'd like to give out the number to the studio again. Would you give them the number, please?
813-252-4497.
The reason I'm giving you that number is if you would like to call in, you may call into this show. This is a show that we will take live callers if you have real questions. If you have questions about how you can purchase your first home. If you have questions about how do you go about getting a loan. If you have questions about, something that you heard about real estate. Why is it better to own than to rent? Help us help you. You can pick up the phone right now and speak to a truly licensed loan officer and realtor who can help you through this process right now. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I am also going to ask Serge that we run a commercial. We're going to come back from our commercial, and we're going to talk to our first guest. Her name is Michelle Morgan with Guaranteed Rate, and we're going to get to chop it up. Brother Serge, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Pay the bills.
That's right.
Kyle Jackson from Savin Premier Real Estate makes selling your home look easy. Even when things behind the scenes don't go quite according to plan. Kyle will go to great lengths to make sure potential buyers see the best of your home. It's all about the details, making sure he's got your back. Kyle Jackson from Savin Premier Real Estate, just another day at the office, working to sell your home. If you're looking to sell your home, contact Kyle Jackson today. He's got your back.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Homeownership and Hip Hop right here on Flowhio Radio, Spreaker Radio. Let's go, Tampa Bay. We are about to talk to our first guest. Her name is Michelle Moore with Guaranteed Rate.
Just say G-rate.
G-Rate. G-Rate's in the building.
Right.
Let's give a round of applause for G-Rate in the building. Let's go. All right. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So we would be remiss without first giving shout out to our brother Shaka.
Yes.
Shaka. Shaka's last name is
Joseph.
Okay. Shaka gave us a plug because I met Shaka. Shaka and I hit it off. He introduced me to Michelle, and now I have Michelle on Homeownership and Hip Hop. I love that. I love when everything comes together, right? So Michelle, would you tell us who you are, where you're from, and why we should know Michelle Moore with G-Rate?
Well, I am native to Tampa, which is like a unicorn these days.
That is.
No one's from here.
Everybody's from someplace else.
I
There
know.
are a lot of transplants.
And I've been in the mortgage business for 5 years. I've been in the financial industry for longer, just so I don't tell my age. And
Very good. Very good play. Well played. Okay.
And G-Rate, I think it's just, it's home now. I've been with credit unions. I've been with banks. And they have good in some of it and bad in each other. And I feel like G-Rate kind of combines the good, the things that I like about credit unions and the things that I like about banks.
And what's your role there? What is your position?
I am a VP of mortgage lending and producing, so I'm a loan officer as well.
Okay.
I am licensed in Florida and Mississippi with some states pending as well, but we won't go into that.
Okay. And how's business?
Business is great. I work with Al Sharif's team.
Okay.
And we are trying to change things around because, you know, the mortgage officers look like us.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful? Can we get a round of applause, Serge, for loan officers looking like us?
Yes.
Because we are, the three of us are old enough to remember an era when that was not a common thing.
Or they're spread out.
Or they were very spread out, where oftentimes, I remember as a younger professional, coming up in many rooms where I was the only one who looked like us in the room, right? And so far more frequently, I'm seeing that is not the case, which is wonderful to begin with.
Yes.
And salute out Mr. Sharif,
Yes.
right, for
Our
putting that
fearless
together.
leader.
Your fearless leader. And if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be a little off here, but I want to make sure that I got this right. So my understanding is that G-Rate is big on diversity.
Yes.
Right? Big on having people kind of all backgrounds coming to them to do business, right?
They have a lot. They have Proud. They have Lead. Proud is for our LGBTQ community. They have lots of webinars that keep us straight.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's a very diverse company. Third largest lender here in the United States, so that's wonderful.
Fantastic.
They have a legend, and they have like humble beginnings, and it's like wild that they've just grown leaps and bounds in a short amount of time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 1975 is when he started out.
Oh wow, okay.
So I just think that G-Rate is definitely a great one, and they're committed to the community as well. They have the foundation. Most companies do, but this company has helped people in 36 states, and I love them.
Okay. Wonderful. So I'm glad you gave them all of those good accolades.
Yes.
But I'm gonna wind us back just one step, because one of the things that I noticed, and this is actually gonna hopefully be a shout out to Brother Sharif, because I really just want to say for the record, I'm proud of what I've heard that he is doing.
Yes.
So let me share with you why I say that. So if you go to a lot of communities, right, we cater to that community. We cater to the community. So here's what I mean by that. If you go to a G-Rate, maybe not them, I don't know, maybe any other office. Let's just take them out of it. Let's just say Mortgage Company, Joe. Okay? Joe Schmo Mortgage Company. If you go to their office in what is called Little China, right? Or Chinatown, most of the representatives in there will be of an Asian heritage, right? I happen to be originally from New York City, and so when I think of a largely LGBTQ community, I tend to think of a place called the Village in New York City, right? Greenwich Village, right? I think there's a bit of one here in Ybor, right? The Ybor City area as well. And you will find that most of the employees in establishments are friendly to that community or are members of that community. Whereas oftentimes I would go to banks and lending institutions and places where it was a predominantly African American community, and I did not see that it was predominantly African Americans working in that space. Okay, and so my understanding is that Brother Sharif went to them, and they were already doing diversity like program kind of offices where you can have like an all Spanish speaking office or an all Asian office, and he said, well, I'm going to do an all black office.
That's right.
Is that correct? Am I
That
right in
is
saying that's
correct.
what he did?
You are very right.
So that is fantastic. First of all, major round of applause for Brother Sharif, right?
Yes.
Al
Al Sharif, the mortgage sheriff.
with guaranteed rate.
That's all right.
And, one of the funny things is that you mentioned that they train you on things related to diversity, right? So I'm going to challenge you on a diversity issue that you may or may not be familiar with.
Okay.
If it's a thing, let's talk about it.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with it, don't worry.
Okay.
But I recently looked into, there were stories floating around and videos floating around of people not getting their home appraised fairly based on issues related to race. Have you heard these stories?
I have not heard those stories, but that is not unfamiliar.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
I mean, a lot of the times, appraisals, if it depends, like right now in the market that it is, appraisers are able to pick and choose. If something's easier, they choose that.
Yeah.
And they get paid, or they will charge you higher for the harder job because, hey, I could have did 3 easy ones
Right.
in the time space. I could do this one hard one.
And you're talking about their income. What I'm talking about
No,
is
not
their
their
behavior. Like D.L. Hughley said they cheated him out of $100,000
No, not
by appraising his home less because they knew an African American lived there.
Well, here's the thing. Most appraisers are supposed to be using sales comparison approaches. And the main thing you look at, because you have the ability to dispute it. Like, you don't have to take that appraisal value if you don't feel it's accurate.
Right.
But the thing is you got to come back with comparables that make sense.
Correct.
So the thing is without knowing what his appraisal came in, what the comparables was, what the square footage price was, there's no way for me to just say, okay, well,
he was racist.
Right.
He was racist. He saw I had a black picture up and he discriminated against me.
Exactly.
Right.
Case in point, I actually have a story, and this is really based on vacant land, and no, G-Rate doesn't do vacant land, but this is when I did vacant land. And I had someone who actually was he was an executive for Ralph Lauren. And he bought in Lakewood Ranch. Now, if you're familiar with
Ranch is lovely. Beautiful homes there.
Beautiful.
$1 million homes.
Now, right. But if you notice, just a few miles down, there's some that are, back then, I'm sure now it's just skyrocketed, but back then it was like $300,000.
Yes.
So he went in, and he was in the $1 million area, but it was vacant. Okay. And so the appraisal value came out to like $300,000 when he was buying it for $600.
Interesting.
And we immediately knew, okay, that's not right.
Is it? Well, half the amount might be a little off. That
right?
might be a red flag, as they say these days.
Yeah.
Red flags are a thing now.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we basically had to get a second appraisal. Like those sort of things, when we can get comparables and say, look at these comparables, something's wrong.
You have some
Right.
recourse. You don't just have to take it. I think that's also what happened with DL. He did have recourse. He was able to fight. This also happened here in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And the reason I bring this story is because what wound up happening was because I'm also a member of NARAB. Are you a member of NARAB?
Not yet, but I will be.
Yes, fantastic. big shout out to NARAB Tampa, which is actually where NARAB started.
Yes.
And so my brother Travis Brooks, I'm not sure if he's currently past president or still president, but
No, I believe he is the current president.
current president. Salute Travis. Okay. And so we started having conversations about, well, how many African American appraisers are out here?
That's true.
Right? Where they at, though? Because a lot of times we know that race is a pervasive issue in society. I don't care how you slice it. It's in everything. It's seeped its way into every corner of our living. Okay?
Yeah.
And if that is going to be, if we accept that be true, and we know that in order for you to get the value for your home, you have to go through this person, maybe some more folks should get into this profession to make sure you're getting fair and equitable value.
Right.
And so I called up and tried to find out, believe it or not, right here in our county, how many African American appraisers are out there.
How many?
I got told that they needed to call legal. We'll be calling the legal department is what I was told. Fortunately, I got a call back by a nice young lady who is an African American appraiser. She works for the county. She works in the county, but they don't have a record of how many African American appraisers are out in the field at the time that she and I had that conversation. So why am I going with this? Well, I hope that any of our listeners, if you're looking for a career path that is not something that we normally talk about, right? There are lots of careers in and around real estate, appraising being one of them. Appraising being a very lucrative one of them, because you were going down the path of how they charge, right?
Yes.
And they make some money.
They get to pick and choose.
They get to choose when they're going to do a job. They getting that kind of money, okay? And so if you have not looked into appraising, I would encourage you to do so. But let's take this one step further, because I want to get back to what you're best at, which is being a loan officer.
Okay.
Okay? So 2021 has been a pretty good year for real estate, I heard.
2020 as well.
2020 as well. Pandemic year and everything.
Yes, what they thought was going to be a really bad thing for home ownership actually jumped up, mostly in the refinance area, but people were buying houses too. So it's definitely been a very plus for 2020 and 2021.
Any guesses as to, because
The
rates. She read my mind. I was going to say, why did people go crazy like that? What? Everybody wanted the house all of a sudden.
You
said the rates. Okay. So what kind of rates are we getting over at G-Rate?
Well, the rates are starting to creep up now. So,
okay. What's going on?
We're looking at, you know, what must go down comes back up. Like it's like air, it rises.
Right. So it's going to come back up. So news flash, rates are on the rise. And when we say rates, let's be clear for those who may be novice to buying and selling real estate. The rate is the interest rate that they are going to pay you as a company for lending them the money called a mortgage.
Correct.
So they get a mortgage and they're going to have a payment which includes interest. But of course, if you have a low rate, you pay a little bit of interest. You get a higher rate, you pay more interest.
Well, yes.
Yes?
And
Okay.
then also, because there's also the loan product and how your pricing. Because there is fixed and then there's adjustable.
Okay. Do you recommend adjustables?
I love adjustables. I'm a big fan.
Oh, really? Tell me why.
Because the average person does something with their loan within 5 to 7 years.
Right.
And
when you say does something, meaning refinances it?
sell, anything. They want to add something to it, anything. And if they're using their home as the asset to make that happen, normally it's within 5 to 7 years.
And so you figure for that first few years, keep an adjustable rate, keep your rate low.
Yes.
And then,
here's the cool thing about adjustable rates, because I love them and I'll get really excited. So, so adjustable is like this. You have a fixed term, and depending on how long the change, because now they do 7 and 10 years.
Okay.
Now they adjust them every 6 months, not every year anymore, but that's okay, because that first 10 years, let's just do 10 years because that's my favorite. And for the first 10 years, you have a low rate. But the cool thing is that you have this low fixed rate, but your interest is adjusted 30 years.
Okay.
Which means lower interest, which means more money in your pocket.
So that sounds good. But here's what concerns me.
Okay.
And I wonder if it concerns you.
Okay.
Remember, were you around for the market crash of the early 2000s?
Oh, I love that because I answer that question too.
Okay.
Everybody, I think the main thing is there was no 7 and 10 year back then.
Okay.
And then also there was misinformation. There were a lot of predatory lenders in 2008.
Yes, there were. Yes, there were.
And then you didn't have to prove that you could pay back.
That's a fact. You could get 100% financing and just run with it and be like,
Yes.
look,
Yeah, I make
everybody getting a house.
$100,000.
No proof.
No proof at all.
Okay. So there
yeah.
are checks and balances in place that were not there previously.
Oh, yes,
we know that.
Because that economic downturn. Because that changed the whole game for loan officers, period. Because before, there were no laws in place like that that says, hey, you got to tell us truth in lending. What's going on with this loan?
Right. Now, the truth in lending was there, but it was, so I was around for that period of time. At that point in time, I was on your side of the fence. I was a mortgage loan officer. Mm-hmm. And a broker, and it was interesting because you could charge a lot of money, and we made a good amount of money, but the problem was, like you said, people didn't have to prove their income. You were able to get into loans that you really didn't qualify for, and this goes back to what I was saying about the 30-year or the adjustable versus the fixed. Mm-hmm. We were putting people, like you said, in adjustables, but they didn't really understand quite what they were getting into. And so when that thing adjusted or ballooned, right, people were sick. They was like, what you mean?
What happened? What happened? But
right?
the cool thing about what the cool thing about now is that we're required by law to tell you what's going on, right. how the index work, how it's adjusted, everything else. If you ask me several options about adjustable rates, I have to show you each one and how it works. So that, I think, is a good thing, because now that person is armed with knowledge versus back then, I'm pretty sure they just saw that thing and said, let me just sign it. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. For sure. and believe it or not, that still happens, because to be honest, when you go to a closing, the stack of papers is like this thick, for sure, right? Like, they come like this. And they be like, look, we're going to start the signing from here, right? And after a while, maybe they read the first page, but then they just like, look, man.
Let's just finish this.
Let's finish this.
Well,
right?
Guaranteed rate doesn't do that. Actually, you can actually do a flash close, and you can close before you even make it to there and see that humongous booklet that looks like a daunting task. Right. You can look at these and take your time. Like, behind 3 business days prior to your closing, we're supposed to be, you send your CD, and those documents you get to see before you get to the closing table. Now is at the point where there's part of it you can sign there at the closing table, or most of it you can sign.
It's interesting that you say that. One of the things, so there are some, I like that you said G-Rate is the third largest, right?
Yes.
So there's pros and cons to being big. Mm-hmm. For example, I like being able to go to Best Buy, for example, because they pretty much have everything. But they're so big, if I have a problem, I always feel kind of frustrated because they're too big. Nobody cares. Nobody's in charge, right? Everybody is just, look, bro, I just work here, man. Okay? I don't know. So with being large like that, what I like is that you guys are able to offer some pretty darn amazing features, right? Some technology features that make it a really nice interaction to go ahead and get your home, purchase a home, do a loan.
That's right.
But my question, I guess, on the flip side of that is that so they're big, what happens if you have a problem? Right? Like earlier on when you arrived, you were talking about you were part of a team. Mm-hmm. And I'm always scared, and I think some borrowers, some realtors, especially in the age of the Zillows getting in the game and the offer pads and these these online people call you all the time, hey, I'll buy your house from you all the time, right? Who do you trust? Who do you call if I have a problem, right? I tell my customers, that's why you need a realtor. A realtor, I'm going to stay with you before, during, and after the transaction, right? to make sure things are kind of going smoothly. But do you find, since you've worked with smaller companies, now a big company, do you feel like it's harder for people who want to deal like with one-on-one? Is it impossible to do that with you, or is that also possible?
It's possible. PNC was not a little bank, so
okay,
they're a big bank, and the credit.
And you did credit union.
Yeah, and the credit union was a mid-size.
Mid-size.
So,
oh, okay.
So I am used to having
bigger
bigger
yes.
pipelines. But what I will say about G-Rate, yes, I am part of a team.
Okay.
But I also tell customers I'm your advocate. Like, I'm your spokesperson in this loan process.
So what if this person on your team messes up? Right? Do I call you?
When you mean person on my team messes up, such
like
as...
say you're the loan officer. I'm dealing with you, but
Right.
I've been turning in my paperwork to your transaction coordinator or
Okay.
whomever else is on your team.
Got it.
And you feel like they aren't responding to you. Am I calling you?
Yes.
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 And you're taking care of it.
Yes.
So if a customer right now says, hey, because I just picked up a customer myself who was angry at the fact that the realtor wasn't calling him back. And he felt like the loan officer was barely calling him back. And it wasn't that he didn't qualify. He just felt like they were too busy. They were too big. That's why I'm asking. This is what's prompting this
Yes.
question. Are you too big?
No.
Okay.
No, and not at all. In fact, like I would tell any customer, I'm your advocate. If you can't reach anybody else, you should reach me. Good. Like I'm available. Yes. But the cool thing about G-Rate though is that they have what's called My Account, and they get to see where exactly their loan is. Okay. And if they say, hey, my loan is stuck here, it's not like they're going to be an informed customer when they call me. Like, hey, what's going on here?
Right. And that's, I think, is the key to a successful transaction.
Yes.
Keep people informed. Everybody on the same page, right? Because if everyone's on the same page, we're all comfortable.
Exactly.
It's when people start disappearing and you like, did you get that message? Are
right?
you going to respond? Hello? Is anyone there? Right. So, before I go, we're going to roll into talking to Big Lon.
All right.
Okay? But I'm going to run a commercial, and then we're going to kind of bring us all back together.
Okay.
Would you stick around for a while? Can you hang tight with me?
Yes, of course.
Brother Serge, hit us with a commercial.
Searching for Tampa real estate services? The realtors at Sivin Premier Real Estate work with integrity, skill, and a genuine care for our clients. We help you navigate the buying process to secure the perfect home. We streamline the selling process and maximize your earning potential. Our realtors really care about you. As an elite brokerage, we focus on providing real estate services with a relational approach, which often involves more than buying or selling. We want to guide you on your Tampa real estate services journey. Residents of the Tampa Bay area enjoy both a laid-back beach lifestyle combined with the hustle of a larger metropolitan city. Come live in the beauty and comfort of Tampa Bay. We love our clients. Turning your real estate dreams and goals into reality is our priority. We will handle all of the intricate and numerous details to make your real estate experience as smooth as possible. Call 813-330-0084 or visit sivinpremier.com.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Homeownership and Hip Hop, Kyle Jackson, Savin Premier Real Estate, Florida's favorite realtor, and your source for everything that you need to know in the hip hop community about home ownership. Now, I have my next guest with us, ladies and gentlemen. Brother Serge, put our hands together and give a big round of applause. This time we ain't going to miss the applause, but my brother Big Lon is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Lonnie, I want to thank you for coming out to represent for the culture today. You are representing the hip-hop side of the conversation. Before we get into it, you have an incredible resume, but let's go ahead and just have you first tell the people your name, where you're from, why are we talking to you?
Okay, my name. I have several names depending who you talk to.
Yes, sir.
Lonnie, Elmatic, Lon, Don, Lonnie, Love. I mean, I'll be here all day, all the different names. But as far as hip hop is concerned, I first.
Where you from?
Oh, New York City.
Born and raised in?
Born and raised in New York City. Born in Harlem, raised half in Brooklyn, Coney Island. Shout out to CI. The other half, west side of the Bronx High Bridge.
That's all right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Salute everybody from New York City. How long you been in Florida?
I've been in Florida since 1991.
91.
Yes, sir.
So you're a Floridian.
I'm a Floridian.
That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so I see you repping for, according to your clothing,
Yes.
not only repping for hip hop, but representing for the
Oh,
culture,
yeah.
New York, for Florida with the Hillsborough.
Absolutely.
A lot of things going on here.
Once again, got to represent the home team, Hillsborough. Shout out to the godfather of hip hop, Tampa Bay, DJ Sandman.
Salute.
You see my Public Enemy shirt.
Yes.
Chuck D is my favorite rapper.
Yes.
You know, of
Oh,
all
that's
time.
fantastic. Great news. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, my all-time
All-time
favorite
fave.
rapper. Yes, sir, Chuck D.
He's in my top 5 as well.
Oh, that's what
Do you,
he's
what, just pause. What's your top 5?
Oh man, you know it's funny because
It has
I
changed over
think,
time.
I think it's not even fair
To call them top five
because
anymore.
it's so many.
It's so- You're right.
many artists. You know, from my top 5 at this present moment today probably would be Chuck D, of course. I would have to put Scarface in there.
Okay.
Face Mob. I would have to put Black Thought in there.
Facts. Super facts. He's in my 5 too.
Oh man, I would probably have to. Was that 3? I probably would have to put. Let's see who I said. Chuck D, Black Thought, Scarface, Beanie Siegel.
Really?
Beanie Siegel, yes.
That's a surprise.
Yes, Beanie
I
Siegel.
would not have thought that. Okay.
Yeah, Beanie Siegel. His delivery and his pattern is incredible.
Broad Street Bully, what up?
And last, I probably would have to. I don't know. I'll say somebody old school. I would have to say the person who the rapper that really that opened my eyes and got me into would be Grandmaster Caz.
Caz.
Yes, definitely.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you said Caz.
Yes,
That's a good
I'm
look.
a cold
right
crush,
there.
man.
A cold crush.
Oh man, I used to
Like-
follow those guys,
Oh, yeah.
man,
Oh, yeah.
around the
As
Bronx.
a kid from the Bronx.
Oh,
And Wild Style, when that movie came, salute Caz, salute the Cold Crush, salute all of the original, this takes me back to, side note, we early on, before we started the show, we talked about the fact that there's verses.
Right.
And KRS won the verses versus Big Daddy Kane. Well, real quick, side note, my top 5, just since you shared yours, are going to be also Public Enemy or Chuck D, KRS-One, Black Thought. So I flip-flop in between because I kind of put 4 people in one. So the remaining 4 are all in it together. But as far as, because I'm a New York City kid, you're going to go Jay-Z, Nas, what's my man's name? Jadakiss, and there was one other. But I would like somebody old school in there.
Yeah.
So I'll say Run. Why not Run?
I was a Run.
I was a Run fan.
I dressed like him and everything.
Yes,
I'm dead serious. I used to dress like
Really?
some guy.
We had the life-size posters.
I had
of
the
them.
black blazer,
Everything.
the
Water Adidas.
Oh,
Yeah. For sure. Salute Run. So, going back to you.
Yes,
so,
sir.
born in New York, been in Florida a long time.
Yes, sir.
But you've also done a lot in and around hip-hop. Would you speak to that just a little bit?
Oh, as far as what I've done in hip hop, I say back in 2014, I started a website, as you know, BLP Big Long Promo.
Which was a dope website. Salute BLP.
thank you,
That was a
thank
good
you.
look right there. And the
you.
merch. This was, man, we was
Yeah.
doing some things that a
Yeah.
lot. I really want to come back
Yeah.
and say a lot of people are profiting off of things we were doing.
You were doing back
10
then.
years ago.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Just continue, please.
And the way I got into that was at the time I was head of promotions for a small record label in Atlanta. The owner of the label decided to go in a different direction, go into management. And at the time, I was like, well, the label basically, he said, I'm leaving the label situation alone. I'm just going into management. But at the time when I was doing promotions for the label, I was, running around and I was meeting people, establishing relationships, getting contacts. So I'm sitting here okay, the label's gone. I'm sitting here, I got all these connections, I made all these relationships, what I'm gonna do? So I just said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just start a website, and incorporated those relationships that I made over the time with that other label. And next thing I know, people start hitting me up, asking me to post stuff on my website, and people started giving me money to do certain things, and I was like, okay,
You was
alrighty.
definitely in that vein of like you was heading towards
Right.
the world star level, like that that world star kind. If you remember early world star hip hop, where artists were sending in, like if you
Right.
got on they joint on that platform, your video could kind of blow up.
Right, and a lot of people, got a lot of notoriety, got noticed around, different areas of the country from being on my website.
Yeah.
And then I went from there to started getting into music more of when I met the brother Fanach. Shout out to Fanach.
I ain't seen Fanach. Good afternoon, Fanach.
Saw
Good
Fanach
to
a couple of weeks ago.
hear your name, sir.
I bumped into Fanach. He was actually doing photography and music videos for a lot of people around the Tampa Bay area, but nobody knew that he was an MC, a really, really, really good MC. And once I, noticed, his talent in music, I was like, hold up. That's when I gave him the nickname Peter Parker, because he was a
Right.
cameraman during day, but at night he was this super
Spider-Man,
rapper.
Superman.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right,
and we
yeah.
actually, dropped a project called the Peter Parker Project.
Which was great, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Can people still get that project?
Absolutely.
Where
It's,
can
they can
pick
go on
those up?
YouTube and find it. Vimeo is still available on Vimeo and YouTube. You can find it.
Okay.
And so we started working together. We did his first project we did was with a lot of material he did with my homeboy producer Dizzy Vision. Shout out to Dizzy. He was basically Fanach was basically his artist, and I sat there one day and listened to that catalog and was like, "What are y'all doing?"
Why ain't you already on?
Yeah, I'm listening. I was just amazed, and so we did the first Almost Perfect.
Because I want to talk to you about that.
Yes.
Side note that I want to come back to why aren't you already on?
Right. We'll get
That's
into that.
it, yeah.
And so I took a lot of the music that him and Dizzy did together and made one project called Almost Perfect, with probably 90% of the production done by Dizzy. And then we went into a second project called The Gentleman's Club, which I executive produced and did everything on there. Went to the studio, Lava Studio. Shout out to Vince. And
Salute Vince Lava Sound Studios. Let's
yes,
go
sir.
Tampa.
Yes, sir. We put that out, got a little notice. People's like, oh, well, I didn't know, and this and that. And a lot of people really got to find out Fanach was a really good MC.
Yeah.
And then the third project we did was the Peter Parker Project, and that was the project that we were really, really most proud of, and really, really, really got our names out there.
Sure.
And then we took a little hiatus. We had like 2 other projects we were going to drop, and then that thing called life.
Life steps in.
Life steps in, which was a good thing. And I don't want to put the brother business out there, but at the time, Fanach was kind of separated from his daughter,
Yes.
and then had the opportunity to reunite with his daughter in North Carolina.
And so he took that opportunity.
Absolutely, and
Fantastic.
I was
Oh,
like,
wonderful.
bruh.
Yes,
Go.
give that a round of applause, sir. Family first. Let's
Right.
go.
Go be with your daughter.
Yes.
Go ahead and get that relationship. And I'm glad to say today, she basically lives with him and
That's
whatnot.
good.
So him and his daughter,
able to reconnect,
basically reunited and everything.
Yes, that's
but So as far as in music in Tampa Bay, that's how I really got to got my name out there. Establishing relationships with a lot of people in the Tampa Bay music community. I know everybody there.
Yeah,
Basically.
like, I assume everybody knows you.
Yeah.
It's funny when we walked in and I'm kind of not introducing you to Serge because I figured, I know everybody.
But I do know his brother. I do know Alfie. Shout out to Alfie.
Yes,
I
sir.
do know his brother.
Brother Alfie.
But as far as hip hop, man, it's been I'm older. I'm not gonna tell my age, but I'm older. Been around almost since the beginning. Had an opportunity in New York City to living in Brooklyn and Coney Island, we used to get a lot of the tapes from Uptown.
Right.
You know, and shout out to Sylvan, my man Sylvan in Coney Island, Cary Gardens. You know, he was an older brother, used to get all the tapes from Uptown.
Yeah.
And I literally harassed this man. He had equipment and everything. I mean, for hip hop, you know.
Right.
I was at this man's house. I was like 12 years old. He's like 5 years older than me. I know his mother's like, who's this little kid that keep coming in here? You know, and he had a Cold Crush tapes, the Grandmaster Flash, Fantastic Five. And, you know, I was like, you know, I was just in awe, you know, staying up to 2 in the morning, listening to WHBI, Mr. Magic, and the Awesome 2 come on right after 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, just staying up. And then we moved to the Bronx, and now I'm seeing these guys who I was listening to or only hear on tape.
Right, I see you in the park, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in the community center in the project, and you really
I'm
there.
standing out there on the Ave,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh wow, that's Just Ice. I was like, yeah, he lives around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, well, he lives around the corner. I'm seeing Grandmaster Caz, and I'm seeing all these guys, my heroes, and I would just run around the Bronx and in Harlem and go to these jams and just be around all day, all night, man, and just hip hop just consumed my life, man. And,
isn't that an interesting and beautiful story at the same time? Because because I felt as I listened to your story, it's almost like listening to my own story, right? Like there's so many similarities of experience, and it's a funny thing that as I look at hip hop and how it has grown up and matured, how it has changed in each generation, in each level. Where do you say we are now?
Oh, right now it's you know, it's I don't know, business is the right word. I'm trying to think of something even that's is hiding. I mean, hip hop is the main culture of society, period. I don't care, you know, what country you're in. There's going to be some type of hip hop infused in everything that's done.
Right. It's touched everywhere.
I knew it was a rap when years and years ago I turned my TV on and I saw Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble breakdancing. You know, I knew there was a change. Something's happening. Right. Something's going on here because, you know, at the time, you know, early hip hop, you know, was just strictly streets. Sure. You know, it's something that the corporations considered a fad. You know, this is just something it's not going to last long. You know, even the artists that were being sampled were really disrespecting hip hop artists, not considering them musicians and things like that.
I remember. Rest in peace to the late great Biz Markie.
Yeah. And
how they came for him with when nobody beats the Biz.
Yeah. Yeah.
They came for his pockets early.
Yeah, early. You know,
in the 80s, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, Run DMC
hit that liquid Adidas, and it was on.
And that was it.
It was
you're
on.
right. After that, you know, there was no such thing of not if musicians getting a shoe contract, but these guys, you know, these black guys from Queens, rappers,
they didn't even weren't on TV like that. There was no video channels like how you have Revolt and all of these things now. Yeah. MTV wasn't even playing hip hop yet. They wasn't even playing Michael Jackson when I first started listening.
Right. They weren't.
He wasn't even getting on MTV yet.
Right. And then when Run DMC, you know, got that Adidas deal and got on MTV, everything changed.
Yeah,
everything changed. I mean, everything. So a lot of you artists out there now, you know, go back and look at some of them things that Run DMC did, because if it wasn't for them, a lot of you guys wouldn't be doing the things that you are now. You know, they're like, what, the first
Can I get a round of applause for that? Can I get a round of applause for that? Let me piggyback my conversation, and I'd actually like to bring our other guest in on this part, so we're all kind of talking together, because this is one of the reasons I was super excited about Versus. It's not only that it was born during the pandemic. It's a great platform for hip hop and R&B. It's a great way for people to, I mean, they're filling multiple stadiums in terms of the viewership, right? Of people who are coming to watch. But this most recent one between KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane was important because a big show for people who don't know 80s hip hop. A lot of times, in fact, during that verses I was watching, and I didn't tell you this, Michelle, but I used to be a professional DJ.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
He still is.
I still am. I still have to go out and do my thing. When I'm not selling houses, I actually perform. And so one of the interesting things is that so DJ Scratch was one of the DJs. Kid Capri was another. And what made me frustrated was this is technically a battle between two 80s MCs, true late 80s, early 90s kings,
Legends.
right? Legends. And you playing only 90s music. There was, and I only got frustrated with that as a person who knows hip hop, because I'm like, how come I ain't hear no Run DMC Houdini? How come I ain't hear no Slick Rick? How come I ain't hear all this? You know how many 80s MCs were great that led up to a KRS, and I didn't hear no Rakim. I did hear Rakim, but I'm just saying, like, there should have been more of an emphasis, because so many people who were not born, or who only their knowledge of hip hop starts around 95 with Biggie in them, right? They don't know that there was a whole plethora of really great MCs like Grandmaster Caz on up, right? That came before those guys, and so I'm sure. Have you been watching the Versus?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So since I just kind of grandstanded on the one that just happened, I'm gonna ask you, how'd you feel about the Dipset versus Lox versus?
Oh man, that was that was great. The Lox showed the difference between MC and the rapper. You know, I think.
Where's the clue bomb? Where's the flex bomb for that?
I think Dipset, you know, came in as rappers. You know, they had the gold chains on, had the designer name brand suits on.
Yes,
just flexing, and just doing rapper stuff.
Okay,
Kiss and them, they came in, with the
Ready for War.
Yeah, Ready for War. They came in as MCs. They incorporated the DJ into their routine.
Yes.
They had crowd participation.
DJ Technique.
They were rapping. They was doing rapping mixtape. Things that
Versus,
you hear on mixtapes
absolutely.
that instead of records. And I think Styles P don't get enough credit off they didn't get enough credit off the routine they did off that Barry White beat.
You're absolutely right.
Everybody's talking about the Who
Kiss
Shot
beat.
You
That's
Kiss,
right.
which was dope and everything.
But Styles is not to be fooled.
But
this man is a serious MC.
What they did to the Dipset off that Barry White instrumental, and how they went back and forth and turned around, was looking at them, spitting at them.
Yeah, I loved it.
I think
I loved it.
Should have got a little more consideration.
I loved it.
But yeah, they took it to the park.
Oh yeah,
they took it to the
Can
park.
I just tell you? So I wouldn't normally say this to another guest, but I'm gonna just tell you because as two men who have been around this hip hop thing for a longer time than some others,
right?
You will remember this, because I wouldn't mention it because they wouldn't remember it. Is why I would say that. But you mentioned that one came ready to MC, one came to rap with the pretty clothes and the jewels.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Do you remember a battle where we've seen this before? Can you? I wonder if you're thinking of if you will think of the same thing I'm thinking of.
You talking about Kumo D and LL Cool J?
Exactly. And we saw it with Run DMC, and when they went against the Treacherous 3.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody comes with. At that time, they came with the sneakers and they,
rope chains.
and the right.
Yeah,
and the other group came. What was, I guess, kind of Planet Rockish, and people dressed for the show, as opposed to for the lyricism and the
right.
So
absolutely
salute both parties, both camps, but the Lox got solidified. I really felt like they put New York on their back and took over.
At that moment, yeah, they did, and they're still riding off of that. They got a tour with Dipset right now, so they it was all Cameron is a great businessman. I don't know if people know,
genius businessman,
but the type of business this man conducts behind the scenes. Of course, he's the one who put together the locks deal for that versus.
I remember
He
Styles
did all
saying that.
He
on
did all
10
that.
on Power
and they
105,
just
yes.
they're familiar with Cameron's business practices, and they just told Cam to do what you do.
Do what you do. We
You
want
know,
whatever you get.
And
Whatever
everybody,
you get, that's
and
good. Give us that.
Cam did a great deal for both parties, which includes a tour for a multinational city tour with both groups, where everybody's going to make enough money probably to live comfortable the rest of their lives. So.
So let's talk about living comfortable for the rest of your life, because
Yes, sir.
we've been talking about music, and that's great,
Uh-huh.
but we're really here to talk about home ownership.
Yes, sir.
And you're a homeowner.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
You've been to my home. I've
Yes.
been to yours.
Lovely home you have. And,
Thank you.
And an interesting thing is that when you were engaged, when you were in the business, you working with record label, you out promoting albums, you working with artists, were you thinking in terms of buying a house then?
At that time, no, I wasn't.
Why?
At the time, getting have recently got custody of my children at the time. Life again,
Okay.
and other things. And, I wasn't. And then once I got everything in order, my life, my personals in order, then my wife and I decided, okay, let's
Now
go
we can.
ahead and let's start looking into this. So what we did was we didn't want the hassle of running around looking at different houses and doing all this. We went straight to the builders.
Okay.
We went to a lot of builders, the MI Homes, the
Sure.
Lennars, the KB houses, and we ended up going with Miranda Homes. We had looked at a home at one of Miranda Homes out in Ruskin, like back in, I want to say 2015, and this is when I got educated.
Was there something that triggered that? I mean, other than you got life together, was there a moment? Was your wife like, we really need a house? Was it a space issue? What is it? Because I'm always interested as to what triggers a person to say, no, we should go looking for a house. I need a house.
Right. I think what it was, we're both blessed to make a certain amount of money, and we just looked at the money we were bringing in and looking at our living situation like we're living below our means. We're like,
we can do better. We can live better
we
than
live. We got this 2-bedroom condo we renting, and paying the X amount of dollars, but we looking at how much we bringing in a year. Like, hold up.
Right.
Hold on. We should have a mini mansion,
Right.
and that's basically what
you
did.
got?
Yeah. That's basically, we were blessed, with a very, really nice
Spacious
home, really big home, and that I have to give to my wife because we looked at that home back in 2015 at a property in Ruskin through Miranda Homes, and she just fell in love with the house. Like when you walk in the door, you get that.
Yes, I love that feeling because I can, as a realtor, I can see it. That instant love feeling is like, oh, please let them get this house.
Yes,
Because I can feel the love in the
and
room.
then we didn't know nothing. I'm walking in there with a credit score from Credit Karma. And, I'm like, I got like pay stubs. We didn't know nothing, So we go in there. I'm like, okay, my wife likes this house. We had a couple of dollars saved, and within the first 10 minutes, reality just hits you. Let you know this score right here. No, we don't use. We don't use it. The money you got. Right now, if you did have a house, this the interest rate you gonna pay. It's like whoa. So at that point right there, we started educating ourselves.
Okay.
And start learning the process of buying a home.
Did you
and
go to a first-time home buyer class, or did you talk to personal friends?
Just
or
talk
people
to personal friends. Did a lot of research, reading a lot of YouTube videos.
Okay.
And
YouTube works.
Yes, it does. Yes,
YouTube
it does.
University, shout out. People be on there.
That's when I learned. Credit Karma. They use FICO scores.
That's right.
That's right.
And then, so then I started looking into what my Credit Karma score was, and I looked at my FICO score. Was like, whoa.
There's a difference.
Yes,
here.
there is. I was like, I looked at my FICO score at the time. I think it was like a 560 something. I was like, whoa. So then at that time, I said, okay, I have to get my credit together. And that's what I did. I went from a 560 to like a 770.
That's fantastic. That's excellent. Did you use a credit restoration company, or
No,
did you
I
started
did
doing
it
your own
myself.
thing?
I did it all myself.
That's really good.
I did it all myself. I went. I paid my bills. That's some bill. Paid my bills.
Pause. I just saw a meme on social media. It says, "How do I fix my credit?" Pay them people.
Pay 'em, yeah. And you know,
Pay them people.
and that's what it is, you know. But then, then I find out, after doing research, I found out where you don't have to pay everybody.
That's
You
right.
know, that's something I think a lot of people's listening out there should know, because the mortgage company that we went through at the time, it was FBC Mortgage. They only look back at 2 years.
That's right.
They only go back 2 years. So you don't want to go disrupting something that you did 4 years ago and open it back up and let it affect you now.
Exactly.
If it's over 2 years, leave it alone. They want to see what's going on in the last 24 months.
That's right.
And another thing that I learned is that a lot of people focus on with buying house, they focus credit.
Yep.
What I learned was, yes, credit is important, but your banking is just as important. Your
That's right.
banking
Very
habits.
much so.
Yes.
Your checking account. When you go to buy a home, before you even go out thinking about buying a home, make sure you don't have no overdrafts on your checking account within the last 24 months. And be able to account for every deposit in that checking account within the last 24 months.
Right. And within 24 months, don't come lump summing it the week that you're trying to get the loan.
And you know what? Let me tell you a story about that. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you, and that's why when I was talking about what went on in 2008, how they just was giving loans to people who they knew couldn't afford it.
That's right.
When we started our process with FBC loans, we talking about doing due diligence. I think in 2000, I bought my home in 2017. I think in 2016, Christmas, I think my mother gave me a cash gift, right? And it was like $2,025 she gave me. And at the time, deposited,
Didn't think much of it.
when it came time for them to start research, they wanted to know. They went back to 2016 and wanted to know
Where'd this money come from?
where this money come from
yeah.
and who gave you that money.
Uh-huh.
I said, well, my mother gave me that as a Christmas gift. I had to get a letter from my mother saying
source.
that at the time that she gave me that money, that it was a gift, and I had to give her a form for her to sign saying that I didn't have to pay that back. Not only that, they went a step further. They needed a letter from her bank, Apple Bank in New York, saying that at the time that she gave me that money as a gift, the money was available in her account.
Pause. Explain that to us. What's going on here? This sounds like a lot of extras.
Answer that question.
What's going on?
Before I answer that question, how long ago was that?
This was we closed on 2017. So this happened in 2017. But the money that was deposited in my account had to be, I believe, it might have been Christmas of 2015, but December 2015 going into 2016.
And when in 2017 you did the process?
Yes.
Correct. So
Okay.
it's not quite 2 years back when that deposit comes in. They're looking at 24 months bank statements. They see this deposit and they want clarification, but
Right.
they making them jump through a bunch of hoops
And
to
I
get that
questioned them.
clarification.
I questioned them on that.
And you very well should have. So I don't know if because I'm thinking back in 2016 because I was doing that. No, I wasn't. Okay, all right. So I guess maybe that was a 2016 thing or a 2017 thing because basically we only need 2 month statements and we only go back 2 months.
Is that guaranteed rate or were you finding that?
That's
as
period.
Period. Okay.
That's
Now-
Fannie Mae rules.
Now, the explanation that they gave me is because what they were having problems with was
Your DTI.
right. So, well, no, not necessarily the debt to income ratio. It was the they were having problems with when they go to. Okay, let me back up a little.
Okay.
Fraud
Another thing
accounts?
is fraud accounts, and what was happening is when they go to look at you want to have at least 4 to 6 months mortgage in your account.
Correct.
And what the way they explained it to me is that during that process, they were finding that people were borrowing money to have sit in their accounts so it could look like they had the money.
Correct, but it wasn't really their money, and it was
Right.
going to be returned to the person after the closing.
Exactly,
and they really ain't got
Exactly.
it. They front.
So, right.
Mhm.
So they want to make sure that this money that you don't have to pay that back.
Right.
And they want to make sure when
And we're
she
going to say
gave me
with the
that money
bank that it came from her, as you said.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the explanation. But everything was cool because everything was on the up and up, so it was no
It
problem.
wasn't
to
no
have
problem
done.
for you, but let's bring her in because
Okay.
she's hurting
I'm like,
over here. See, I gotta
what?
clarify some
Okay,
things.
I think I answered my own question when I had the curiosity of why they went back so far. You're self-employed.
No, I'm not self-employed.
You weren't self-employed
No,
then?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
You were a W-2 employee.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, I bring up to you the conversation you and I had earlier in reference to racism has weaved itself into our society in every area. And I'm going to just tell you, I don't want to scream racism in that regard because,
Right.
well, you do have to source income. I don't care what the lender says. I mean, every lender is going to, like, you have to have a paper trail. Where'd this money come from? What's
right,
going
but that's
on?
not income.
But
That's
normally,
assets.
that's an asset, right?
And whether that...
But
like I
why
said,
all the
too much-
extra papers?
So that's why I was thinking self-employed. Self-employed they're a little bit different.
Yeah,
They're a little special.
But
right?
but he's W-2.
But W-2, the only thing I can think of is at the time that's what they required. Maybe their overlays, and that could make sense. Maybe that particular lender says, "Hey," because Fannie Mae is like the rule maker, right? This is what we'll take basically to accept your loan.
Correct.
Okay.
Because they're gonna do the loan,
Right.
and then they're gonna sell it to Fannie Mae.
And that's what lenders aim for. How can I package this loan to make Fannie Mae and other private
So
lenders
that they'll buy it.
take it, right? So we only look at 2 months. Fannie Mae only requires 2 months. You go back in 2 months. If that would happen in 2 months, in a 2-month time, where because anything over 500, they're asking you about it.
Right.
Okay, what is this? And even if it was a gift. We just need to verify it was a gift and where it came from, but only within that 2-month period. So I was kind of shocked.
They went back on them.
They went back to the bottom of the ocean.
And let's talk about that for a bit because I think that it's important that we have some advocates out here, right? Because at some point, if he starts feeling like I don't know if this is going right or if I'm being treated right, I wish that there were resources. Obviously, you want to turn to your realtor. You hope that you have a great realtor. They're supposed to be your advocate. But there should be resources that people can turn to if they feel like, man, y'all giving me kind of a runaround. Do y'all do this with everybody? Am I being treated fairly? Because sometimes, there are instances that relate to our race that are not overt, but more like a vibe. You can you making me fill out 3 extra forms for what reason? Now?
Right.
You didn't make that other guy.
Right.
Things like this. And so we should remain vigilant when we see things like that and be actively calling anyone out who's doing that kind of thing.
Right.
So let me ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
So we got away from it, but I find that people who are veterans in the hip-hop industry have a hard time telling me where we are and where we're going now, right? Because I think that there was an era, like that 80s, 90s era, hip-hop had a sort of a uniformity, right? You knew what hip-hop was. People dressed the part. People talked the part, right? And things have changed. We now have a wider range of what people call rap and hip-hop. We go from everywhere from Lil Nas X all the way down to Griselda and these guys, right? Like we have a much wider net of participants. What are we doing now? And what role do you as a let's call you a statesman, an elder statesman, what role do we still have in this thing called hip hop?
I think at this point now, if you notice, I think hip hop music, because we had hip hop is a culture, so hip hop is not just music. Hip hop is a lifestyle, is a culture. But as far as our culture and the music, I think hip hop is being used as more as a stepping stone for other opportunities.
Okay.
Right. If you look at most of the big dogs, the positions they're in today is not because of music. It's because of what they did with music and got the chance to do other opportunities.
Right.
Puff Daddy is not rich off of music.
Correct.
That's right.
He's rich off of liquor.
Correct. Well,
and amongst others.
Yes.
Salute to the Ciroc, to Sean John. He done made some things off
the Jay-Z's. Jay-Z's not rich off of records.
That's right.
He's rich off of investments that he's made.
That's
Jay-Z has I don't want to exaggerate, but he has a private jet company that's like really, really popular on the East Coast.
Okay.
and it's really not as much as
For
people
fractional
think.
jet, for private jet,
For
you can
private
get like
jet,
a
from
fractional
like both-
ownership of a private jet company.
which he
yes.
does.
Yes.
You know, I forget the name of the company, but it goes from like Boston to Florida. It's an East Coast company.
Yeah.
You know, little thing. It's just, you know, Nas, for instance. You know,
With
Nas,
that Ring doorbell, he made
know,
a fortune.
He made a fortune. You know, hip hop is just
And
a stepping
didn't they
stone.
do Uber too? Who owned Uber?
I
Did
think
maybe
I think
Shaq
Shaq had a big
Uber,
piece in it.
Shaq,
You know,
some of the things I just recently found out Shaq owns.
Oh,
was
yeah,
wild.
Shaq,
I was
yeah,
like,
Shaq. He got in the game. Whoever's giving Shaq advice knows what they're doing.
Really?
You know,
Yeah.
as well as Nas. You know, Nas then really got into the tech game now, as well as liquor. I remember a time when Nas was turning down deals for liquor companies.
I remember that.
And
yeah.
now, you know, he's a spokesman for Hennessy.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, if
I
you
just
want to be one,
yeah.
go ahead and ride with Henny.
Exactly, yeah.
Henny everything.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. But I believe hip hop is just only thing you need to do is just get a pop-in TikTok video, IG video, a hit single,
Facts.
right,
Super
to
facts.
get in the door. Now, once you in there,
Now you gotta
now you can go
And maneuver.
and start maneuvering into other areas. So
It's
hip hop
funny
is
you
just
say
it's
that.
just a stepping stone to other opportunities.
Because you're right, social media I know hip hop stars or social media stars now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like this guy. Have you heard of Country Wayne?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Country
don't like
Wayne,
him
I
that
only
much.
know him from from Instagram.
yeah.
Yes.
Or there are people who kind of blossomed off of the whole Instagram.
He's doing
Yeah.
stand up now.
yeah, and big,
Yeah,
making money.
Yeah.
touring with the big dogs,
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
stand up.
So
you know,
it's beautiful to see that we have made this progress. And speaking of my main man,
hey,
we're gonna run a quick commercial while we say hello
So,
to my man Alfie, and we'll come back and we're gonna wrap up with some final thoughts. Okay,
right.
and so, Brother Serge, take us away. Alfie, what's good, bro?
Selling your home can be a big decision for you. An even bigger one is the realtor you list it with. You want a realtor that's going to check all the boxes and one that's got your back. That realtor is Kyle Jackson from Savin Premier Real Estate.
You want a realtor that's going to be with you through the entire selling process. My name is Kyle Jackson. I'm a realtor with Savin Premier Real Estate, and I got your back.
Make the easiest decision when it comes to selling your home. Choose the realtor that's going to go the extra mile and assure you that you made the right choice. Contact Kyle Jackson today. He's got your back.
Coming in hot, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Jackson, Savin Premier Real Estate, Tampa, Florida's favorite realtor, and your host right here at Homeownership and Hip Hop. I have been talking with Big Lon and Michelle this afternoon, and now we're going to get to our final segment of the day. We're going to kind of talk about some things that I'm going to present to you really quickly. I want you to give your feedback on, and then we'll talk about how people can contact you, any ways that they can. Obviously, we would love them to do some real estate transactions with you.
Yes.
Right? And so we'll talk about how they can do that. Before we get there, so I happen to know you are active on social media.
yeah, a little something,
Little something.
little something.
Are you on social media?
Not as much, no. More like a troll.
Kind of troll, play the background. Okay.
I like that.
Okay. And what impact? I mean, where are we going with this thing? Because I spend a lot of time posting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Yes.
YouTube. I have so much content. I looked at one of my Instagram pages has over 20,000 posts.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot
Yeah,
of posts.
you're active.
I'm active, right? And that's just on one of them.
Right.
And so, and the other day I asked myself, what in the world am I doing? You can never post enough content to get there, it seems like. It's like the more content I put out, somebody else is putting out another 20 videos besides me. It's
Right.
always ever moving.
Right.
And I don't know what the end value to this is. Has this brought business to you? Is it entertainment? What are we doing on here?
It definitely brings business. I mean, it's relatively new for, especially, as far as the loan community. A lot of people, I remember when I first started doing it, my boss laughed at me.
Were you TikToking or what?
No, not TikToking.
I see a lot of agents on TikTok dancing
not
and stuff.
TikToking. I actually started an Instagram account, and he thought that was hilarious at the time. I was working for the credit union,
and didn't see the value.
And they didn't. They really didn't. And they actually tried to stop me from doing it.
Really?
And it looks like more and more people are
leaning
towards it, because it's definitely, it's like, I like to call it, it's like a billboard into your phone. You just put it in there, and you kind of advertise yourself, your brand, and there's more people coming to you versus.
Have you done deals off of social media, LinkedIn, TikTok? Which has been the best for you?
Well, mainly I get a lot of reaction from LinkedIn, and it's more like gaining partnerships, not necessarily customers.
Got you.
Yet.
So business relationships.
Yes.
Got you. How about you?
I think it depends on what your intentions are. You know, with me personally, I have no intentions with social media. You know, like I said, as far as music or any type of business, you know, I haven't been active. So I just you might see anything on my page.
I love yours is one of the pages. Your Elmatic page is one of the pages I actually check every single day.
Oh, thank you.
I watch his page. I'm a fan of this
You might
man.
see anything, so I don't have
He
an
posts
agenda.
some of the stuff that I really be like, this is great.
I'm gonna have to look you up.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
really good stuff. Next question. So both of you are homeowners.
Yes.
What was the best and the worst part of your home buying experience?
You want me to go first, or you want to go first? Okay.
You go first.
Okay. I think the best part, because I actually went through a program called NACA.
I'm familiar with NACA. Oh, I'd love to hear this story. That's
Yes,
very good.
NACA
Okay.
is very infamous and notorious.
Both. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
But fortunately, when I did it in 15, it wasn't really that known. And
How long did it take you?
Okay, so I gave up.
Pause.
But not because life happened and I just had to stop.
I see.
Not
Okay.
because of the process itself. The process is difficult, I will say that. It is difficult because they ask you for certain things all over again, and just when you gave it to them, they're like, yeah, I need you to send it to me once again.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? So that was like the most difficult part, but nothing beats the fact when they put those keys in your hand.
Yes.
That's the end of it. Like, all that struggle that you deal with is just over. Like, it's like, okay, it was worth it.
Okay. Sir?
The best and worst part?
Yeah.
The best part, like she said, was getting the keys and pulling up in my driveway.
Amen.
Having a driveway.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's one of the people ask
I
me,
love
what's
that.
the best thing you like about having a home? Having a driveway. Having to get my groceries and just walk right in the house instead of having to climb up some stairs
Yeah.
somewhere
Oh,
and
yes.
walk through a
Oh,
parking
yes.
lot. The worst was the closing process. I want to say like day before closing, I think they tried to switch the price up on me 4 or 5 times.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I had the down payment, but and this is one reason why I love my wife so much, because she always thinks ahead, because we had the money that we were supposed to,
Yeah.
but she always, let's just have a couple of extra $1,000,
Just in case.
just in case,
Mm-hmm.
in which we were, we had, and it's just at the end of the closing process, how they flipped the price on us so many times, it was really intimidating. It was nervous because I already had the moving truck ready.
Sure.
I had a lot of things ready, electric ready to be shut off and this and that. And just the closing process.
Let me address 2 things.
Okay.
So I want to go with that first because I don't want to lose that. That's important. I've had customers who get, one of the things that I think is very important for all loan officers who are listening, all mortgage companies who are listening, you have to remember, you do this every day as your job. This is a huge event for people who are buying and selling their homes. And a huge event in the sense that they have taken, beyond the work that they're doing with you to get into the property, they have taken on huge expenditures in terms of moving companies, preparing people, moving trucks, moving packages, getting set up with the new, what am I calling it, Tico and all of that kind of stuff, making sure everything is ready to go for their new home. And when you cause delays, they don't really know what to do. They get frozen. They get hurt. They lose money. They don't have a way to. Sometimes the mover can't readjust their schedule for them. It can be all kinds of nightmare, right? And so that's why I say it's very, very, very important, particularly once we get to that 3-day right of rescission, that you be communicating with your loan officer and be on. Everybody got to be on the same page. Everybody got to get towards closing, because otherwise you wind up hurting that customer really bad, and you can help hurt the seller. Sometimes the seller can't move on until they close, right? And so they in a jam too. So don't take it as just business as usual and kind of blow it off like, so what? It's just delayed a day. No, that delay can cause a real problem. And a lot of money. Also, I want to go to what you said in reference to NACA. Shout out to NACA. Shout out to NACA as a NACA approved realtor. Two, I am grateful that they even have a program. Shout out to Bank of America for helping people who are otherwise they're not going to qualify.
That's right.
They're otherwise not going to get into a home. They are trying to help people. I do recognize that. However, because of their practices and because of how long it has taken, they have to remember that real estate is an industry, just like hip hop, is a relationship industry.
Yes, sir.
This is relationships, okay? Right. And they have burnt far too many. They've burnt far too many relationships. I had a NACA customer walk into a builder like you, wanted to deal with the builder. The builder said, "Oh, you got a NACA approval? Yeah, we don't accept those."
Oh, wow.
Just straight up was unwilling to work with NACA, period. And it was unfortunate because she was, of course, frustrated. It was taking time. She couldn't find any place that would approve her budget, blah, blah, blah. So I would tell you this. It's a great program if you need it.
Yes, it is.
But don't use it if you don't need it.
That's right.
If you don't need it, if you can apply under more traditional means, if you can afford things under normal circumstances, just go the normal route. You'll be much happier, and it will work out just fine. Don't think you're getting something for free just because it sounds like you're getting. It ain't for free. It takes time and energy.
Yes.
Okay. Last question, and then we're gonna do our. I would like you folks to leave all your contact information so folks can follow you and contact you and do all of that sort of good stuff. But before I go on to that, notice I talk about verses a lot during this particular episode. Okay. So I saw something at the recent verses that kind of tickled me. One of my fave rappers, the legendary Busta Rhymes, came on to a show that a pre-show, and said they can't find nobody to see that man. Nobody wants to smoke with him. And I love you, Busta, but I was thinking, if I had a choice of who I'm putting against Busta Rhymes, my vote is going to be Missy.
Yeah, that's everybody.
I'm putting Missy Elliott against Busta.
Right.
You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. If Busta was a woman, he'd be Missy, and vice versa.
Right, and vice versa. Right?
Yeah.
Like that would be a big show. I would love to see that. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I ain't seen Missy really active in the game like that. Like you said, she went on to other platforms. Right. Which, by the way, I didn't want to. In case you didn't catch that as a jewel, when you listen back to this podcast, you better catch that as a major jewel. If you are a rapper today, if you are in the game, you're a producer, rapper, what have you, follow the blueprint set ahead of time.
Right.
We already saw Will Smith do it, transition into movies. We watched Queen Latifah do it, transition into movies and television. Right. We watched so many people. Yes. Ludacris did it right here in the South. He owns restaurants and all kinds of other things. Right? Yeah. Take your fame and turn it into fortune. You're not gonna get it through the music.
Right.
It ain't gonna be rapping shows and doing. You got to take the money that you're earning. And my recommendation would be to contact Michelle with G-Rate and get you some real estate.
Yes.
Right? Because the reason I say contact her is because we want to contact G-Rate first, get a pre-approval, make sure that you have some money to spend, and then you'll speak to me. After she gives you her approval, I'll know that you have some real dollars to work with, and you and I can go shopping, and I can take you out to see some properties. Okay?
Let me just add a caveat to that. Because I think, when people ask me, I actually tell them to talk to you, because I want them to be able, because when they come over to me and they say, I want a pre-approval, and then I say, okay, how much you want? And they're like, and then I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, so you want to go with the max conforming limits, which is right now $625,000. Oh, no, I don't want that much. Okay.
Right.
So what area?
Let's educate some folks real quick, because that's important. You're
Yes.
right. So I tend to tell people two things. One, you don't know how much of a house you can afford, and don't go by what it used to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to just tell you, a starter home right now in Tampa, Florida, if you are going into a single family residence, starts at $300,000 or above. Right? If you are looking at something less than that, you're going to be looking at probably a fixer-upper or a townhouse. Okay? And if you want to get into, now you may say to yourself, $300,000? Who got that? Well, you're going to get a loan. But the question that you're going to have on that loan is, how much am I paying every month?
That's right.
Right? What's my payment? And that's really the question that people want to know. How much do I have to have in down payment? How much do I have to have in closing costs? What's my monthly payment going to be? Those are the top three questions. How do I get this done? Well, I say, I can't have them talk to me.
Right.
Right? I can
That's
have
my
you. I
job.
can say, look, I have all of these houses from 50,000 to 50 million. I can sell you any of these. But we want to know what's comfortable for you, where you want to live, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what part of town, is it close to your job, what kind of, do you want a dog, do you want a fence, do you want a pool, I can ask a million questions, right? So there's some things that you need to narrow down, and then once you've narrowed those things down, we need to set a price point, and then we need to say, well, can you get that kind of money? So when they speak to you and they come back and they say, well, I've been pre-approved for $350,000, I start getting all happy. I'll be like, yeah, let's go buy a house. But if you come back and you say, oh, I've been pre-approved for $100,000, I say, so let's talk about what that looks like. Let's talk about where we can go. There's a difference.
Yeah, but I like for them to talk to you just as a preliminary, not to really go into any big depth, but just to say, hey, I'm looking in the Riverview area, because Riverview area and Largo is two different price points. So I need for them to have an idea, because I had someone say, yeah, I want a house in Riverview for $300,000. I'm like, where?
It's going to be tight. You're going to be looking at
Now,
yeah, now it's a
I
little
was able
harder.
to do it a couple of
Years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
not
Because
now.
the price is up. Look, yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yes.
So I
sir.
need
Right.
them to get an idea of what they're looking for
Yes.
to be competitive in the market that they want.
I agree.
And the only way for them to know that is through you.
Oh, and to do a little research, right?
Yes.
Like, start online. It's okay if, I tell people, the way you actually get things in life, in my opinion, some people like to say it's prayer. I like to think it starts with imagination, right? Like, use your imagination. Start thinking about it. Start thinking about what it would look like if you owned a home, where you might want a home. What would a home be like for
Yes.
you, right? Put this into your imagination and then go look at it. Because what you may be imagining, right? Maybe some people have a big imagination like me, where you want a mansion on the beach.
Right?
Some people, I'll be honest with you, my wife and I just yesterday were talking about purchasing a plot of land, and I might be giving away $1 million worth of game. Shout out to Gilly. I might be giving $1 million worth of game right now. Open up a plot of land and start just building, instead of a mobile home park, build tiny houses.
Yeah.
Tiny houses and those, what do they call, what did the brother say he wanted to, the kind
Those
of homes,
shipping containers.
shipping container homes, the new
container homes.
Container homes, tiny homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't know where you get financing for container homes yet. Does Guarantee Rate do that?
No.
So I wouldn't go that route yet. But I do know you can get a small house, and there are tiny house builders right here in Tampa, right?
Yes, but I don't believe.
And you guys
we're
might not financing
for
that
tiny
yet.
homes. A lot of banks and lenders aren't doing this.
You know why? Because
a risk.
it's risky in this sense, right? Like, it still is just a small house, but there are more luxurious ones. Just like there are more luxurious trailers, right? Like, you can get a triple wide that I've walked into some triple wide mobile homes that look better than a house. They nice.
You're right.
And then I've seen some people like, I don't touch mobile homes. Well, why not, right? It just depends on. But we want to talk about you.
Okay,
we want to
okay,
get to
okay.
you
Yes,
guys.
yes.
What do you specialize in? What is the if someone's listening, they're thinking, I want to give a call in because I want to get approved for a house.
Right.
Do you handle people at $200,000, $300,000? What's your sweet spot?
We handle them all, and I don't believe they even have a minimum loan limit at all. There's some lenders that do. We do not. Of course, it's got to make what's called tangible net benefit. But I would say we can do up to $5 million.
So if
For a
somebody
jumbo,
wanted a
yeah.
house, so for jumbo loans, right? So do you specialize in? Is that what you guys are mostly known for, jumbos?
I think we're known for a lot, just a whole span,
plethora of
right? Because
products.
we have investors.
Got you.
So the difference between G-Rate and a bank, they have investors that happen to be banks as well that we just submit it to, and we go with their overlays.
So they should just apply.
Yes.
No matter where they are. They
No
should
matter
apply.
where they
So
are.
how would they apply with you? How can we get people in touch with you?
I actually have a link, but you can get to me at guaranteedrate.com/Michelle Moore.
Okay. Guaranteedrate.com/Michelle Moore. Is there a phone number?
It is my phone number, my cell phone number, of course, area code 813-395-1077.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we log off?
Al Sharif and Shaka Joseph, you should have been here.
Al Sharif, Shaka Joseph, salute to you.
1 L or 2 L from the show?
2 L's.
All right. And Brother Lon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So final questions for you. Okay. So now that where can people contact you? Do you want people to contact you?
right. I'm retired. No, I mean, anybody can contact me if they, want any type of information, anything like that. Instagram, EL_MATIC, Elmatic. One thing I want to do before I leave today is shout out my younger brother, Juice. Because of him, my brother was very popular in the 80s. And because of my brother is how I got to meet a lot of people and able to move around and be in different cities and able to go backstage and do certain things it's because of my brother. He's my younger brother, but people will call me Big Juice.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope.
And he's the one, my brother is the one who used to dance for Houdini. And that's why I have the relationship that I do with Houdini.
yeah.
Rest in peace, Ecstasy.
Yes.
Jalil probably out there listening. What's up?
Dope.
Nice and smooth. These guys,
Yeah.
all my brother's friends. I got to, be in my house. My mother know Greg Nice.
Ain't
My
that something?
mom knows Jalil.
Shout out to Greg Nice and Nicey Smooth being on the recent Versus,
right,
by
on
the way.
Versus, absolutely.
That's
Performing
what's up.
Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah.
He used to be in the house. Tracy Morgan, before he moved to Brooklyn, he's from
Tracy
High
Morgan,
Bridge.
my brother.
Used to be at the crib.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to, when I go to different places, to be, that's Juice Brother, let him in. Or that's Juice Brother, let him backstage.
Yes.
Or, this and that, and this will happen in different cities.
Juice had the juice, for sure.
Absolutely. Shout out to Wiz, his partner, the whole Houdini family, Nice and Smooth. These are people that before I moved to Florida, who I was around and got to, really, watch the game from an outside perspective and see what was going on. But yeah, EL_MATIC on IG. I post any and everything. I don't have an agenda. I just have fun.
Dope.
Right.
All right. And so it is time for me to give my shout outs. But before I do, I'm going to throw one last twist in here before I give all of my credentials and where you can find me. I'm going to do a speed round with you. Don't explain yourself. Just give your answer.
Okay.
You ready? On 3. Ice Cube versus Scarface. Ice Cube or Scarface?
Ooh,
Oh, man.
I can't choose.
One or the other.
Oh, man. One of the Ice Cube. Oh, my
Ice
God.
I
Cube
grew
or
up with Ice
Scarface?
Cube.
Ice Cube.
Face.
Face. Kanye versus Drake.
Drake.
Kanye versus drinking and rapping.
Yep. Put it like a versus. Tony Bay, who yes, in rapping.
Oh, man. In rapping, I would have to. Oh, man. Kanye versus Drake and just spitting without their ghostwriters.
No Ghost Riders.
Because, they both got them.
They got him. Yes.
I'll go with Ye. I'll go with
Go with
Kanye.
Ye. Okay. Foxy Brown or Little Kim?
Kim.
Yeah, Kim.
Alchemist or Just Blaze?
Just Blaze.
Alchemist was dirty on the. Oh, my God. It just Blade. Oh, my God. I'll go with Alchemist.
Okay. LL Cool J or Busta Rhymes?
Buster.
My mother gonna kill me, Buster. She loves LL.
Outkast or Tribe Called Quest?
Outkast.
Tribe.
T.I. or 50?
T.I.
50.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Oh,
Nas.
coming.
Last, Beanie Siegel or Nori?
Beanie.
Beanie.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kyle Jackson. I'm your host of Homeownership and Hip Hop. It has been a pleasure to be here with both of you. Thank you both for being my guests today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Tampa Bay's favorite realtor. I am with Savin Premier Real Estate. You can contact me directly at 813-444-2691, or you can find me at KyleSellsTampaBay.com. I would love to serve as your realtor to help you to buy or sell real estate in the Tampa Bay area. Brother Serge, take us out.
All right.
Yes, sir. Don't forget, if you need your party.
A home is more than just a place you eat and sleep. Memories are created that will last a lifetime. Milestones and achievements that you'll cherish forever. And as families grow or you move up in life, it's time for your home to grow with you. A new home to create even more memories.
Every home has memories. Every home is a chapter in someone's life. My name is Kyle Jackson. I am a realtor with Savin Premier Real Estate. I would love to help you go from the current chapter to the next chapter of your life. Call me anytime.
When it comes to selling your current home and buying your next, Kyle Jackson's got your back.